previously stated here on the Games of 90, Geoff Edwards is the man. And he's traveled so many times from Canada to Los Angeles to New York to do so many shows you thought he would live on an airplane. And here's one of the reasons why. This show, taped in Montreal, only lasted 5 months in its original NBC run in 1980 because Fred Silverman wanted to do a 90-minute David Letterman show. Let's be honest, that was one of the network's worst decisions. It got revived in 1986 for the USA Network and Global, and it was miles better, getting a 5+ year run and honestly being one of the best cable game shows of all time. I'm of course talking about the new Chain Reaction.
The game is the new Chain Reaction. And here's your host, Geoff Edwards.
Thank you, Rod. Thank you very much. All right, thank you. Welcome to Chain Reaction. This is a game where one word leads to another, and the right word could lead to thousands of dollars.
Chain Reaction was a word game done by word game genius Bob Stewart, the brains behind Password, Pyramid, and a myriad of others. In this game, teams have to connect a chain of words by guessing the word that follows or precedes the word before or after it. The show's been revived 3 times, with the last 2 being done by GSN with varying amounts of quality, ranging from alright to god-awful. The first revival was aired in Canada on the Global Network, the same network that was also airing Bob Stewart's revival of Jackpot. Both of those were aired on the USA Network in the States. And for the purposes of this video, I'm going to stick to the format that was currently on in 1990. So I will not be talking about the team format, and most importantly, Blake Emmons' run. Since I've already talked about Blake Emmons' run in a game show Garbage Induction, I'll link to that in the bottom. So, for the purposes of this video, we're going to talk about Geoff Edwards. Again. Because he's awesome. Geoff took over after Emmons left, and it was a massive upgrade. Geoff was his usual self, like he was on Jackpot, Starcade, and Treasure Hunt. Maybe down the road, some famous game show author can do a biography of Geoff and his various travels, journeys, and the like. However, with Geoff on board, CanCon was not met, since a show that's being produced in Canada needs someone Canadian on screen. So like the last word after it and super paid cards before it, announcer Rod Charlebois became an on-screen personality, much like Mary-Lou Brasarba with Super Paycard. He was very affable in his role, and the home games he played with Geoff at the end were quite hilarious. When the show started in 1986, it had a team format, but when Season 3 came around in 1988, the show went through a big change. Instead of teams, the contestants were now solo players, and the set went from a seafoam green and orange set to the purple and light blue set, which would be used throughout the rest of the show's run. The core gameplay is left unchanged, where you still have to figure out connecting words to figure out a 7-part chain. Geoff gives the first part and the last part of the chain to help the contestants figure out the words. The contestant control has to either take a letter or give a letter above or below a certain word. The person who guesses the word correctly gets 10 points and control, otherwise control passes to the other person. If you get the last word in the chain, you get 15 points instead of the regular 10. After 2 chains, the amount would be 24 word and 40 for the last word. And for the decisive 4th chain, 44 word and 84 last word. The first person to reach 300 points wins the game and goes on to the bonus game. While you don't win any money for winning the game, the Missing Links game worked just as well. The person in control after the second chain was shown a 3-word chain with the middle word missing. If someone can guess it with no letters, they win $500. For each letter needed, $100 was deducted from the prize. It was a fine middle game and was just fun to play along with. Getting back to the main game, with the threshold being 300 points instead of 200 for teams, it was quite rare for someone to crack 300 on 3 chains. And I actually like this format. I don't mind the faster pace, it just works better than the team format. The bonus game is the same as the team format one. The champion is shown a 7-word chain with the first word revealed and the first letter in the remaining 6 words revealed. The champion takes a guess at the next word in the chain. If they get the word right, they move on to the next word. If they don't, then another letter is added from their 7-letter bank. The contestant gets $100 for each word revealed, so they get a free $100 because the first was revealed for them. If they can complete the chain using 7 letters or less from their bank, they win the jackpot, which starts at $2,000 and grows by $1,000 each day. It's not one. Out of every single bonus game Chain Reaction has done, this was the best one, even if it's pretty mediocre. At least it kept with the theme of the show and didn't try to shoehorn a format that doesn't work. Go! Another aesthetic change was the removal of the old game board and its place as a computerized version. Even though it's not as interesting as the old board, it's nice to see the change. Plus, this allowed for a faster game. Heck, the game was faster with the advent of the solo format anyways. And something that I've gone back and forth on was the lowering of the base jackpot from $3,000 to $2,000. I was originally against it, but then it made sense because one person was winning more by themselves than a team, since with the $3,000 base jackpot split two ways, it was worth $1,500 per person. So in a sense, with the per person rationality, it felt better. And honestly, the whole solo format worked better than teams format in my opinion. Now, whilst the show's switch from teams to solo players at the beginning of Season 3 was a little bit jarring, there would be one more format change to come, and that would happen at the end of Season 4. The biggest change to the new chain reaction after the move to solo players would come at the end of Season 4, where they would hold their first ever Tournament of Champions, dubbed the $20,000 chain reaction. 8 champions from Season 3 and 8 champions from Season 4 competed in one gigantic single elimination tournament for the last 3 weeks of Season 4. The big change was the finish line was up to 500 points, thus a 5th chain was used, which was worth 50 points for each correct answer and 100 points for the last word. The winners moved on while the losers went home, and the winner of the tournament won the $20,000. The tournament was so well received that for Season 5, the series completely changed into a massive tournament. That tournament would give us the $40,000 chain reaction. In this season, 8 contestants played off in a single elimination tournament quite similar to last season's $20,000 tournament. In this case, the winner of the 8-person tournament won $7,500. And because of this new format, the bonus game was subsequently axed. Something else changed, that was the Missing Links bonus. Missing Link was changed to where the leader after the second chain would be the only person to get a crack at it for $300, which was lowered by $100 for each letter needed. After 16 tournaments, all the $7,500 winners came back for one gigantic tournament like the $20,000 one, and the winner won the big prize of $40,000. I'm not exactly a huge fan of season-long tournaments on game shows. They often stand to be convoluted as all get out. I mean, just look how poorly done the Video Power and Trump Card tournaments were handled. However, this season-long tournament got it right. That could also be true because Video Power was crap and Trump Card was average at best. I like the idea of smaller tournaments becoming the impetus for a larger one. It reminds me of satellite tournaments from the WSOP main event. But then again, it could also be because that I'm a big mark for Geoff Edwards. While the game was still quite good, the big season-long tournament would be the end of the line for the show, as the axe came for not only this version, but the French-Canadian version that was running concurrently with this one on December 27, 1991. Geoff would stick with doing Big Spin in California before retiring in 1995 to kick back and travel and play a whole bunch of Quake in his spare time. I gotta say that the solo format and tournament format for the new Chain Reaction is the best that Chain Reaction ever was. It's got Geoff Edwards, who is the best host for the show. It's got the best music. I think it's got one of the best sets. And it's just amazing to watch in general. That's going to do it for this edition of the Games in 90. And since we're talking about Vanna White on the next game show Garbage Induction, why do I have to suffer through Goddess of Love? We're going to talk about Wheel of Fortune in November. So yay! We got Pat, we got Vanna, we got Bob going. Yay, cheap daytime. Until next time, bye-bye!